بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم صدق الله العلي العظيم Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Future Stars live on Hidayat TV. I'm your host Hassan Shah, and today we're going to be talking about Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. And people at home might be thinking it's not his actual birthday today, but we're going to actually be talking about him, and I'm going to get into detail why we're actually talking about it today. But before we continue, I'd like to introduce my guests.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mohsin.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Hussain.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Misbah.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Hira Batul.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Muhammad Aziz.
And thank you for the introduction. And like we do on every show, someone's going to read a Quran recitation. And Muhammad, you're going to read the Quran recitation. So can we start him off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف معقول صدق الله العلي العظيم.
I seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan the outcast. In the name of Allah, the most kind, the most merciful. Have you not considered how Allah dealt with the masters of the elephant? Did He not foil their stratagem and send against them flocks of birds which pelted them with clay stones so that they become like plants cropped by cattle? Allah the Sublime speaks the truth. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil faraj. Thank you, Muhammad and Hira, for that. So, and remember, whenever you are really reciting the Quran, make sure you know the translation as well, so you know the history behind it and also how you can implement it into your life. So, just before we went on to the Quran, I recited the Quran myself a little bit, one ayah, yeah, and it kind of links in with today's topic, yeah, and it's Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu in tansurullaha yansurkum wa yusabbit aqdamakum. Yeah, that means all you who believe, if you support Allah, He will support you. Yeah. So in this upper ayah that I mentioned, it says, if you support Allah, He will support you. What does it mean by supporting Allah? Because surely you can't support Allah. Who is Allah? He's God, isn't He? Yeah. So what does it mean by supporting Allah?
Worshipping Allah.
Worshipping Allah. That's a very good idea there. What else?
Reading Quran.
Reading Quran. Misbah? You got any ideas about how you can support Allah? Because He's God, isn't He? Praying. So He's God. But do all those things that you said there, so you said, what did you say, Muhammad?
Praying.
Praying, yeah. Misbah, you said praying as well, Mohsin, and you said reciting Quran, didn't you? Yeah. All these things that you mentioned there, if you never did them, would it affect Allah? No.
Yeah. No.
No, it wouldn't affect Allah because He's God, isn't He? Yeah. So supporting Allah, even if you didn't support Him, He'll still be there. So not supporting Him in a way that if you would do it, He would stay alive. Yeah. So supporting Allah because when we recite Surah Ikhlas, Qul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, as-samad, you can't, he doesn't need no one, does he? Yeah? So when you're supporting Allah, you could, what people say in this ayah, what it means by supporting Allah, it means by supporting His message, yeah, by spreading His message, yeah, by supporting the ones who spread the message, like the prophets and the imams, yeah. So the best example, one of the best examples I can think about of someone who this ayah relates about, yeah, to support Allah and Allah will support you, yeah, is Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. So Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, he was actually born on the 7th of Safar, or on the 17th. There's different narrations, yeah. So he was actually born on the 7th of Safar. So as Shia Muslims, is Safar a happy month for us, or is it a sad month?
Sad month.
Sad month, isn't it? Yeah. So we can't actually, it's because it's a joyous occasion on his birthday, obviously, but it's obviously a sad month as well. So so people have now put, celebrating his birthday, because which Imam is Imam Musa Kazim? He is 7th Imam. And what month are we in now? Rajab. That's the 7th month. Yeah, so if today is the 7th of Rajab, so 7 and 7. Yeah, so they decided to celebrate his birthday on the 7th of Rajab, the 7th month, the 7th day as well. Yeah, and as he is the 7th Imam. Yeah, so when just before I continue with the story of Imam Musa Kazim, Miss Bay is going to tell us a little bit about the month of Rajab. So can we start off with the last salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala
Muhammad. Rajab is one of the 4 months declared sacred by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the glorious Quran. Special prayers and amal that can be prayed and carried out on any day or daily for this 7th month of the Islamic lunar calendar reached us on the authority of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, and Imam Sahib as-Saman alayhi salam are given below. Number 1, the month of Rajab in its superabundant favours and benefits, reference and sanity is next to none. It is linked to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and as Shaban to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Ramadan to his Ummah, Muslim community. Who so observes fast even one day during the month of Rajab gets Allah's pleasure. Number 3, ask forgiveness and turn repentant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you can, because mercy drops from the heaven like a gentle rain in the month of Rajab, also known as Asab, pouring out full of love and kindness. Number 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shall forgive and have mercy on him who recites Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa wahdahu la sharika lahu wa atubu ilayh. I ask forgiveness of Allah who is, there is no God save He, and no other has no partner, and I turn repentant to Him. At least 100 times, 400 times will accrue more rewards, and recites La ilaha illallah 1000 times during the month of Rajab, and gives all in the name of Allah at the completion. Number 5, recite Surah Al-Ikhlas at least 100 times, 1000 or 10,000 times will accrue more rewards in the month of Rajab. Keep fast on any day in the month of Rajab. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farjam. Thank you, Miss. So she's talking a little bit about the benefits of the month of Rajab. So let's get back to the topic of Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. So, do any of you know where he was born, Imam Musa Kazim?
Medina.
Near Medina.
Makkah.
Near Makkah. Actually, kind of in between. Yeah, in between, in a place called Abwa. He was born in between there, because Imam, who's his father? Who's Imam Musa Kazim's father?
The 6th Imam, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq.
Yeah, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam. So it was at the time of Hajj. He took his whole family with him. Yeah, and on their way back, they stopped at a place called Abwa, and there's actually apparently that the Prophet's mother is actually buried there. That's why all the Imams would actually stop there after going Hajj on the way back. So that's why they would stop there. And when they stopped at that time, Imam Jafar Sadiq, he received some news saying that, oh, your wife, she's in labor, she's going to be giving birth. So Imam Jafar Sadiq got really happy at this moment, yeah. And then a few moments later, when the baby was born, he got really happy, and then his companion was asking, why are you so really joyous in this occasion? Yeah. And then he replied saying that, oh, I've just seen the hujjah on the earth after me. Yeah. So what's a hujjah?
Next leader.
Next leader, no, it's kind of the proof of Allah on the earth. Yeah. So he's saying the next Imam is now here after me. The next Imam is now been born. Yeah. So he spent 20 years with Imam Jafar Sadiq, yeah, his father, and then his father passed away. But in this time of Imam Jafar Sadiq, there was a lot of developments happening. Yeah, because we've done about Imam Jafar Sadiq before, haven't we? Yeah, and we've seen how important his time was for education and science and for religious studies as well. Yeah, and one of the people that actually were under Imam Jafar Sadiq was Abu Hanifa. Do any of you know who Abu Hanifa was?
He was like wait, I can't remember.
He's one of the leaders of our brothers.
Yeah.
The Sunni brothers, yeah, he's one of their Imams, yeah, and he actually learnt from Imam Jafar Sadiq, and he actually said, if it was not those 2 years with Jafar ibn Muhammad, I would have not known anything. So this was Abu Hanifa speaking there, and he actually one day spoke to Imam Musa Kazim when he was small, yeah, and asked him that, oh, when a human commits a sin, whose fault is it? Is it Allah's or the human?
Human.
It's a human, isn't it? Yeah. But Abu Hanifa had this belief that that when a person would sin, it's Allah's choice, and it's actually Allah allowed it to happen. So it's on Allah. This was Abu Hanifa's belief. Yeah. And he actually believed if Allah made the choice, and he is allowed to do anything, that he could take a sinner to go to heaven, and for a person who prayed so much, he could take him to hell. Yeah. So he brought this question to Imam Musa Kazim, and just remember this: Imam Musa Kazim at this time was a small child. Yeah. But he came up to Imam Musa Kazim, and when he asked him, Imam Musa Kazim said there is either 3 possibilities out of this. It was Allah's fault that this happened, or Allah and the human's fault, or the human only. Yeah, so he went one by one. So he said Allah's fault. What is the Asul-e-Din?
The 5.
Yeah.
The roots of religion.
Yeah. So can you name them?
Tawheed, Adala, Nabuwa, Imama, Qiyamah.
Yeah. So what was the second thing she mentioned? Adal. Yeah. Allah is just, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So how can Allah be the person who actually he tells us not to do all these bad things, but he allows it to happen? Yeah, so how can it be Allah's fault? Allah, what has he given to humans? Free will, hasn't he? Yeah, and it's their choice. So then he said, how can it be Allah? Because of his justice that he has promised, his adala. Yeah. The second thing was Allah and the human. How can it be Allah when Allah is more powerful than the human? Yeah. And how can Allah then punish the human in afterlife if he was actually part of it? So then Imam Musa Kazim said, no, it can't be Allah and the human. The third thing, that it can be who? The human by himself, because Allah has given him free will. So he has his own choice to do these things, and actually Allah, and he gave, and I saw this ayah as well, which is really important from this. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Inna hadayna hussabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. Indeed, we have guided him him, we have guided him to the way, he is grateful or he is ungrateful. So Allah there is saying what? That we shown you the way, you either take it or you don't. So he's saying that free will. Yeah, he's explaining that free will. So that means, so it only has to be the human's fault. Yeah, so you can see at the young age how much knowledge Imam Musa Kazim had. Yeah. So Misbah, I think Hussein's got the next thing. So can we start Hussein off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
One day, the seventh Imam was passing by the tent of Nomund, who was a black man. Imam Musa went up to him and said Assalamu alaikum in a warm and friendly manner. Upon leaving, Imam Musa said goodbye to him in a very kind manner with these words, "If there's anything I can do for you, I'm more than willing to do it." One of the followers of the seventh Imam, Imam Musa, who saw this attitude, said, "Is it suitable for you, the son of the Messenger of Allah, to sit and talk with a man of no reputation and make such an offer as, if you need me in any work, I'm more than willing to do it? Is it right for a man of great dignity to talk to a man like that?" Seventh Imam, Imam Musa replied, "This is one of Allah's creatures. Allah has created all men equal. Besides, as a Muslim, he is our brother in faith. After all, life does not remain the same forever. One who needs help today may be the one who will be able to help us tomorrow, when we'll need help. If we don't pay any attention to him today, one day when we may need him, we will be embarrassed to ask him for help." Moral: In Islam, everyone is equal. Allah is the giver of things, so what you may have today, someone else may have tomorrow. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjum. Thank you, Hussein. So showing the morals of Imam Musa Kazim there. So thank you for that. So going back to the story that I was saying there about him and Abu Hanifa. So when he gave all these answers, he showed that which was the right way. Yeah, what it was Allah or the human. Yeah, so he said about the human. So showing the knowledge of Imam Musa Kazim when he was young, and this is why, going back to the first ayah that I mentioned, he was supporting the message of Allah, wasn't he? And he was spreading it. Yeah, and this is why Allah supported him. Yeah. So we need to kind of learn from this and support Allah's message and support the people who are sending this message as well. Yeah. And so one title of Imam Musa Kazim was Sabr. What does that mean?
The patient one.
Patience, yeah, patient one. Yeah. And he had to be so patient at the time he was living in. Yeah, because of the king at the time. Do any of you know who was the king at the time?
Was it Harun al-Rashid?
Yeah, Harun al-Rashid. He was the king at that time, and he actually, one of their claims, because many people were power thirsty at the time, one of their claims to the Khilafat was that we are the cousins of the Prophet. Yeah, and one day, Harun and Imam Musa Kazim was in the Prophet's mosque. Harun goes and there's a lot of people around, yeah, and just to boast the fact and try to show he's higher than everyone, he's looking at the Prophet's grave. He says, "Assalamu alayka yabna Amr." That means peace be upon you, my cousin. Yeah, so he's trying to boast in front of everyone. And then the Imam hears this in front of everyone, he sees it. And then the Imam says, "Assalamu alaikum ya Jaddar." He's saying to the Prophet. Yeah? So he's saying, "Assalamu alaikum, oh my grandfather." So he's giving him a smack on the face there. Yeah, isn't he? Yeah. Because he's trying to show in front of everyone, yeah, that he's bigger than everyone. Yeah? But Imam Musa Kazim is telling him there that no. And going back to the Hussein's story that he was mentioning, that everyone in the eyes of Allah is equal, except, what does Allah say in the Quran? What differentiates people? Begins with a T.
Taqli.
No.
Taqwa.
Taqwa, yeah. So, taqwa, do any of you know what taqwa is?
Yeah, it's like when like you're really pious.
Kind of. You kind of know the difference between right and wrong, and you can act on that difference as well. So you know that thing is wrong, yeah, and you act on it, yeah. That's kind of an explanation of taqwa, and taqwa is a really important thing which differentiates people, yeah. So that's a small story about that when they were in the mosque. So Mohsin, you've got the next thing. So can we start Mohsin off with the loud salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajah.
There was a poor uneducated farmer who was very rude to our seventh Imam, Imam Musa Kazim. Whenever he saw him, no matter how rude this man was, Imam Musa Kazim never got angry and he never said anything to the man. Imam Musa Kazim friends wanted to punish the rude man, but Imam Musa Kazim would not allow them to. Imam Musa Kazim told them that he himself would teach this man a lesson. One day, Imam Musa Kazim rode out to the rude man's farm where the man was working. When the man saw Imam Musa Kazim, he stopped working and put his hand on his hips, ready to be abusive again. Imam Musa Kazim disputed, went towards the man and greeted him with a friendly smiling face. Imam Musa Kazim then told him that he should not overwork himself and that the land he had was very good. Then he asked him how much he was expecting to receive for the crop. The farmer was amazed at Imam Musa Kazim politeness and sanitary. He waited a little, then he said he was expecting to get around 200 gold pieces. Imam Musa al-Kazim took out a purse and gave it to him, telling him that there was 300 more pieces of gold in this. More than the value of the crop. Imam Musa al-Kazim told the man to take the money and to also keep the crop, and that he hoped the man would receive more for it. The farmer, faced with such kind behavior and good manner, he was ashamed of himself and asked the Imam for forgiveness. After that, whenever the man would see the Imam, he would greet him very politely. Imam Musa Kazim friends were very surprised. Moral: do not treat people the way they treat you, but better. Give to the people even if they do not act as if they deserve it. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajum. Thank you, Mohsin, for that. So, showing kind of what Imam Musa Kazim actually his view on things was, because he would see a person being abusive towards him, but instead of being abusive back, yeah, what does he do?
He's kind and polite to them.
Yeah, he's kind and polite, and then he kind of shows up that person. Because if you were abusive and rude to someone, and they all the time, what were they to you? They were nice and they were kind to you. Yeah, you would feel really guilty inside for doing what you did, and that taught the man a lesson, didn't it? A really important lesson as well. Yeah. So thank you for that, Mohsin. And then the next day after, you know that small story that I said about the thing in the mosque when they were saying Assalamu alaikum to the Prophet. The next day after, Harun actually put the Imam in prison. So the Imam was praying in the same mosque, yeah, in the Prophet's mosque, but they took him they never waited until he finished praying. They just took him, yeah. And then the Imam said, grandfather, bear witness of what they are doing to me, yeah. And then they actually took him to a prison. They put him under a house arrest with another person, yeah. And then Harun actually sometimes came to visit, yeah. And there was like a top balcony thing, and then on the floor where Imam Musa Kazim would live, yeah. So Harun would come up from the top, and then he asked the man who was kind of in the house with him, "Oh, where's Musa Kazim?" And then he said, "Oh, he's on the floor. Yeah, he's down there." So he looked down, and then he said, "I can't see him." Yeah, and then he said, "Look closer." He just saw like a cloth, like a garment, and then the man said, "Look closer," and said, "Oh, that's Musa Kazim." Yeah, and then the man told Harun how Imam Musa Kazim would stay in sujood, yeah, stay in the sujood, and as soon as Fajr happen, soon as he has to do Fajr, he stands up, he does Fajr, and then he goes down, yeah, and then he stays in sajda, and he's continually praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Zuhr comes, and then he stands up, and then he do Zuhr. So he doesn't go to sleep, or he would have to do his wuzu again. So he didn't go to sleep, and then he would go back in sajda, yeah, and that would carry on, and then and this is how Imam Musa Kazim would actually act. And so he kept his faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even in the hardest of time when he was in prison. And actually Muhammad, I think you've got another thing about Imam Musa Kazim. So can we start? Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
His father is Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam and his mother is Sayyida Hamida. Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam's mother had very good akhlaq. Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam often praised her. He would say, Hamida is purified from all the dirt and is like a pot of gold. The angels have protected her until she came to marry me, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed her to be the mother of the Imams after me. After the birth of the seventh Imam alayhi salam, when Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam returned to Medina, he invited the poor to come to his house and eat for 3 days. One of the miracles Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam has that he spoke from the cradle like Prophet Isa alayhi salam. The companion of Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam, Yaqub al-Suraj, says that when Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam was born and he went to see him, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq alayhi salam told him to go near and greet the young Imam. When Yaqub said salam, the Imam replied back from his cradle and said salam, and then told him, go and change the name of your daughter you named yesterday, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like that name. The sixth Imam alayhi salam loved Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam very much. Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam was known as Al-Sabi, the patient one, and Al-Kazim, which means the one who controls his anger. The seventh Imam alayhi salam taught his followers to never support the rulers who are not fair and just, and never to work for them. He encouraged his followers to stay away from the kings and rulers so they would not become part of their sins. Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam used to help the poor people in Medina. He would go out in night when it was dark and leave food and money for them. They will not know who is helping them.
Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Muhammad. So he's giving us an insight, a little bit more deal about Imam Musa Kazim and how he would, in the night time, would actually go around and help people. Who does that remind you of?
Imam Ali.
Imam Ali alayhi salam. See how all the Imams would follow the example of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and how and what Imam Ali would do as well. So then as I said, when Harun would always sometimes visit Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, he actually one time he got into an argument with Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam. Harun said, "Oh, what makes you think you're closer to the Prophet than I am?" Yeah, so he's trying to boast, saying he's very close to the Prophet, and because he's got this power and everything like that. So, and Imam gives a really good answer to this. So he says, if the Prophet would come back today, and if he was alive today, yeah, if he would ask to marry your daughter, would you let him? Yeah, and then he said, yeah, it'll be a good honor for me, my daughter, to get married to the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then the Imam said, Imam Musa Kazim said, he said, if the Prophet would ask me to marry my daughter, I can't do that, because my daughter is his daughter. It would be his granddaughter, wouldn't it? Yeah, and you're not allowed to marry your daughters, are you? Yeah. So this is why. So he's showing there again, yeah, showing in front of everyone that was in like that kind of courtroom situation at that time, yeah, that how Imam Musa Kazim had an answer for everything Harun would throw at him. And then another time, he moved him to a different prison, yeah, and this one was more like harsher. He would actually be in a basement in a dark room, chained up, yeah. And then one of the people who was running that place would listen to Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam, and even in this time he was still thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He even said, he was talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said that, "Oh Allah, I was asking you for a long time to give me a quiet and peaceful place, yeah, a private place where I can just talk to you, and you have given it to me. Thank you, Allah." Yeah, so he's in this basement, a dark room, chained up, and he looks at this place and says, "Oh, this is a really good place. It's a private place where I can talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So he makes a good thing out of every bad situation, doesn't he? Yeah. And even one Sunni called Ali ibn Khalal, yeah, he's a Hanbali, yeah, and he's one of their like leaders, yeah, and he follows that Hanbali school, yeah, and he actually said, whenever I encounter a problem, I go to the grave of Musa ibn Ja'far, and it is solved, yeah. So he's saying there himself, he doesn't even follow the Ahlul Bayt, yeah, but he's even saying, whenever I go to the grave of Musa ibn Ja'far, Imam Musa alayhi salam, yeah, what happens? His problem is solved, yeah. So also emphasizing that we should go visit them, yeah, do ziyarat, yeah. So some few important points that I mentioned there. So Misbah, you've got the next thing. So can we start, Mr. Hafiz? Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam and prison guards. In the time of our 7th Imam, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam, the ruler was a Abbasid Caliph called Harun Rashid, who hated Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam. Harun Rashid came to Medina, where Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam lived, and had Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam arrested and sent to a prison in Basra, Iraq. Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam stayed in prison under the guard of a man called Yahya. Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam was a kind man who always talked nicely to everyone, even Yahya, who kept him in prison. Soon Yahya felt bad for keeping such a nice person in prison. Harun Rashid found out and took Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam to another prison. Again, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam, through his kindness and politeness, made the other person also feel bad. The cruel Abbasid Caliph Harun Rashid poisoned the food of Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam in the prison of Baghdad. The dose proved fatal, and the 7th Imam, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam, kissed martyrdom. Moral: no matter how horrible someone is to you, you should always be nice to them, and soon they will feel bad about how horrible they are being to you. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Miss Ba. So she's mentioning another point that I gave up about how Imam Musa Kazim would be kind to that person, and then it would make them feel bad because how bad they were acting towards the Imam. So here she's got some of the sayings of the Imam and talk a little bit about more about the Imam. So can we start off with the last salawat? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Among the 12 holy infallible Imams, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam is our 7th Imam. His mother is Hamida and his father is our 6th holy Imam, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam. He was born in Medina 128 years after Hijrah. He was poisoned by Harun al-Rashid 183 years after Hijrah and is buried in Kazimiyya in Baghdad. His titles are Al-Kazim, Faqih, Alim and Bab al-Hawa'ij. Imam Musa al-Kazim passed 20 years of his sacred life under the gracious patronage of his holy father, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam. His inherent genius and gifted virtues, combined with the enlightened guidance and education from Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam, showed in the manifestation of his future personality. He was full versed with the divine knowledge even in his childhood. The holy Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam breathed his last on the 25th of Shawwal, 148 years after Hijrah. And with the effect from the same day, Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam succeeded the holy office of Imama as the 7th Imam. Imam Musa managed the affairs of his science university. The period of his Imama continued for 35 years. In the first decade of his Imama, Imam Musa al-Kazim carried on the propagation of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family. But soon after, he fell a victim to the ruling kings and a greater part of his life passed away in prison. When Harun al-Rashid threw him into the dark cells of the prisons, he thanked Allah, saying, "O Allah, you know that I used to ask you to give me free time to worship you. O Allah, you have done that. To you be praise." Imam Musa al-Kazim lived under the most crucial times in the regimes of the despotic Abbasid kings, who were marked for their tyrannical and cruel administration. The Abbasid caliphs were always on the alert with this distinctive source of imamate, and our 7th Imam was fully aware of this danger. He was the embodiment of virtue and generosity. He devoted his nights to prayers of God and his days to fasting. He always forgave those who wronged him. His kind and generous attitude towards the people was such that he used to help the poor and provide for them food, clothes and other necessities of sustenance secretly. Biographers have unanimously agreed that Imam Musa was the greatest of the people in obeying and worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Time and circumstances did not permit Imam Musa al-Kazim alayhi salam to establish institutions to impart religious knowledge to his followers as his father, Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam, and his grandfather, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, had done. He was never allowed to address a congregation. He carried on his mission of preaching and guiding people quietly. In a situation in which the family and followers of the Ahlul Bayt were being murdered and tortured, Imam Musa al-Kazim, through his character and piety, showed the meaning of tabligh, living up to the hadith of the 6th Imam. Acquire a true Islamic character, and that shall spread Islam. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you for that. And showing a little bit more detail in Imam Musa Kazim's life, talking about the Khalifs as well in more detail than I've gone on to. And here, have you got some more things that you would like to speak about?
Yeah, I've got some sayings.
Yeah, sayings. So can we start off with the last salawat?
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Plants grow in plain, not rocky lands. In the same way, wisdom will not grow in the hearts of the modest, not the arrogant. because Allah has made modesty the instrument of the mind and made arrogance the instrument of ignorance. Always say the right thing, although it may lead to your loss. No charity is superior to giving a helping hand to the weak. Imam Reza alayhi salam has said, my father talked of his father, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, saying that the Ghadir feast is much more famous in heaven than on earth. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. Thank you, Rasul. Talk a little bit about the sayings of Imam Musa Kazim there. So thank you for that. So talking about the oppression and persecution that was put on Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam in the time of his Imama. And actually what would happen is that Harun would actually there was one, I'll give you this short story now, see if I can fit it in, that Harun was actually he said, if you can all the Bani Hashims come to my palace, and if you can name your lineage all the way from now to Muhammad and to Bani Hashim, then I would give you money. I'll give you some gold coins. So people came, or people who were from Bani Hashim, they came, stated their lineage, and if they got it right, then money would be given to them. Yeah, and then the guard came rushing in one time. Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, Musa ibn Ja'far is here." Yeah, so he came, and then one of his sons, he said his dad stood up, like he got really kind of scared, and then he told us all to behave. Yeah, and then he went out. Yeah, and actually came back in and helped Imam Musa Kazim in. Yeah, and then and treated him with utmost respect. Yeah, and treated him very kindly and all these things. And then he said, let me take you out, because he was gonna go now. Yeah, and then they said the salams, and then they went, but they helped him on his way there, because he had a donkey with him, so they helped him get on the donkey, and then they went. And then one of his sons came up to the Khalifa, yeah, and then said, "Oh, who's that? Why are you giving him so much respect?" Yeah, and then he said, "Oh, my son, this is Musa ibn Muhammad. Yeah, he is the rightful Khalif. I am sitting in his place. He is the one that's supposed to be sitting on this seat." Yeah, so think about this. He knows that Imam Musa Kazim is supposed to be sitting on that seat, but he's still there. Yeah, so think about, sometimes this world controls you so much, yeah, that even you know the right place, you know in your head that it's right, but you just don't do it. Yeah, so then his son goes to the Khalif saying, "Oh, why don't you give him this seat?" He said, "Are you crazy?" He goes to his son, "Are you crazy?" Yeah, and then he said, "All this time that I've been here," and then he goes on to say that if you would deny, if you would say I'm wrong, yeah, and if you would try to take this and change this belief that I've got of me, that I'm supposed to be the Khalif, yeah, that he said that he would kill him, his own son. Yeah, so he knows this, but he still is not grasping this. Yeah, so we need to actually learn from this, is that there can be all Haruns everywhere. We can see them, yeah, that they know the right thing and they see the right path, but what are they not doing?
They're not doing it.
They're not acting on it. Yeah, you're right, Muhammad. Yeah, so this is why this ayah that I started with, that if you support Allah, Allah will support you. Yeah, so Imam Musa Kazim, this is why Allah supported him, because he supported Allah's message. Yeah, so thank you for joining us on today's show. Yeah, hope you have a good time. I hope you at home as well have learned a lot about Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam and Rajab as well, like we started the topic with. So thank you for joining, guys, and thank you at home as well for watching. We'll see you next week, same time, same place on Hidayat TV. But until then, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.